All right, so let's dive into something I know keeps a lot of folks in construction up at night bidding. We're not just talking about submitting bids, but really transforming how you approach them to actually, win those bids. And to help us crack the code, we're diving deep into Owen Hager's The 50-25-25 rule, the secret weapon for construction bid success.
Oh.
This isn't about just lowballing the competition, right?
Yeah.
It's a smarter, more strategic way to play the game, when you say.
Absolutely.
Because think about it. We've all been there, put in the hours on a bid, been the cheapest, and still lost. So what gives?
Well, that's where things get interesting, and that's what we're here to unpack today.
Exactly, and that's where our expert today comes in. They practically breathe this stuff. So let's break down this 50-25-25 rule, because when you hear it, it sounds almost deceptively simple.
Yeah, it does, but it's surprisingly powerful when you put it into practice.
I think that's the beauty of it, right? It breaks down this potentially overwhelming process into digestible chunks.
Exactly.
Kind of like, a well-balanced project portfolio, just with numbers, ha.
Exactly.
So that first 50% price seems obvious, right? But, and this is a big but, it's not just about being the cheapest.
Nope, not at all.
It's about value, right?
100%.
That means, and Hager really hammers this home, knowing your costs inside and out.
He does, and it's so important.
Really knowing. We're talking direct costs, indirect, even those sneaky little hidden costs that always seem to...
Up at the worst time.
Exactly. It's like they wait just to keep things interesting.
Right, like you think you've accounted for everything, and bam, there it is.
So how do we get a grip on those hidden costs? What's Hager's advice?
Well, he really breaks it down. You wouldn't start building a house without knowing the foundation, the materials.
Right, the labor.
Exactly. Pricing a bid, it's the same concept. You need those strong foundations.
So break it down for us. What are some of those foundational elements we might be overlooking?
So he talks a lot about really categorizing those overhead costs. We're talking admin, marketing, even that fancy office space you're renting.
Oh, wow. I never even thought about office rent factoring in.
It all adds up, right?
It's about having that clear picture, knowing where every dollar's going.
Exactly. So you can price strategically, not just to be competitive.
And that's where this value over cheap thing comes in, right?
Exactly. Sometimes a slightly higher price, if it's justified by the value you're bringing, can actually be your winning ticket.
It's funny you say that because I was thinking about this the other day. If I'm buying tools, am I always going for the absolute cheapest option?
Probably not.
No way. I want the ones that are going to last,
Absolutely. Quality over cheap any day.
Right. It might be a bit more upfront, but the value's there. And that's what Hager's getting at, right?
Yeah, he suggests using a clear, detailed quote that breaks down those costs, shows the client exactly what they're paying for.
So no more vague line items like project management fees.
Right. Instead of just lumping it all together, itemize those fees. Break down what project management actually entails, how it benefits them specifically.
It's about transparency.
Absolutely. And showing the client that every charge brings value ensures the project's success.
It's like you're saying, hey, we're not hiding anything. This is what it takes to get the job done right.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to highlight what makes you stand out either.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Do you use sustainable materials? Maybe you offer extended warranties? Or have a track record of finishing ahead of schedule?
Those are huge selling points.
They are. And they justify that well-earned price tag, too.
Show them you're worth it.
Absolutely. But let's be real, construction, it's not all spreadsheets and numbers, right?
No, definitely not. It's about people, too.
Exactly. And that brings us to, I think, the heart of Hager's rule, those 25% dedicated to relationships.
Okay, so tell me more about that.
This is where I see a lot of contractors that kind of miss a beat.
Oh, how so?
They treat it like a purely transactional business, when it's really about building genuine connections.
Right, like you want to work with people you actually, like and trust.
Exactly. Hager emphasizes going beyond just the bidding process itself.
So how do you do that? What does that actually look like in practice?
Well, for starters, he talks about really understanding the client and their needs.
Okay, so not just skimming their website, but really digging in.
Right. Go deeper. Understand their industry, their company culture, past projects they've done.
So you can anticipate what they might need, what their pain points might be.
Exactly. What are their aspirations? What are they hoping to achieve with this project?
And then use that knowledge to tailor your approach.
Exactly. Demonstrate that you've done your research, you're invested in finding solutions specifically for them.
It's about showing them you're not just there to win a bid, but to actually help them succeed.
100%. He talks about being a problem solver, a partner invested in their success from day one.
I like that, a partner.
It's a partnership, right?
Ah.
And that starts from the very first interaction.
So being responsive, answering those calls and emails promptly.
Oh, absolutely. Even a quick email saying, hey, I saw your message, I'm looking into that.
Right. Just acknowledging you've received it.
It goes a long way. Shows you're attentive, dedicated.
It shows you care.
Exactly. And then, beyond responsiveness, there's showcasing your expertise.
This is your time to shine.
Right. Position yourself as the go-to expert in your field.
Okay, so how do you do that without sounding like you're bragging?
It's not about bragging, it's about adding value freely.
I see. So share your knowledge, even if it's not directly tied to the bid.
Exactly. Offer insights, tips, maybe a helpful article you came across.
It's like you're building a knowledge bridge, even if they don't end up choosing you for this particular project.
Right. You're demonstrating your expertise, building trust, which can lead to other opportunities down the line.
So it's not just about this one bid, it's about the bigger picture.
Exactly. Hager calls it playing the long game, and it's a smart one.
It makes sense. So we've got pricing, we're building relationships. What's that final 25%?
That's a big one. Follow-up.
Oh, follow-up. So many people dread it, but it's so important.
It is. And this is where, again, I see contractors kind of drop the ball.
They think their job is done once the bid's sent.
Exactly. But think about it. If you were the client, wouldn't you appreciate a contractor who stays in touch?
Keeps you in the loop. Addresses your concerns, throughout the process.
Exactly. It just makes you feel valued, right? Like you're a priority.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what Hager calls consistent and valuable follow-up.
And it can make all the difference. Because going dark after you send a bid, not a good look.
So true. But there's a right way to do it, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to be, hounding them.
Exactly. It's a fine line between persistence and pestering. You nailed it.
So what's the sweet spot? How do you stay on their radar without being annoying?
That's the million-dollar question. And Hager gives us some good pointers. For starters, don't just call to be like, so have you decided yet?
Oh, God, no. That's the worst.
The worst. Instead, offer something of value. Share a relevant article, maybe an additional insight you had.
Oh, I like that. Like a little nugget of wisdom they weren't expecting.
Exactly. Or even just reiterate your understanding of their needs, how you're the perfect fit.
Remind them why they liked you in the first place.
Yes, because... let's be real, out of sight, out of mind. Hager wants us to stay top of mind, but in a good way.
Not in a, him again kind of way.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to mix it up either. Some clients might prefer a quick email, others a phone call.
Read the room.
Exactly. And this seems so simple, but take good notes, like really detailed notes.
That's huge.
Jot down key takeaways from your conversations, any specific concerns they had.
Even those little personal details.
Yes. That's what builds rapport. It shows you're genuinely listening, taking their needs to heart.
It's like you're saying, I hear you and I've got this.
Exactly. And you know what else? Whether you win or lose the bid, always ask for feedback.
Feedback, even when it's tough to hear, is so valuable.
It's like gold. It's a chance to learn, refine your approach, so you can nail that next bid.
So to wrap things up, it's not about being the cheapest. It's about being the best partner, right?
100%.
Knowing your worth, building those relationships, and following up like a pro.
You got it. It's a winning formula.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dives into construction bidding. Big thanks to our expert for breaking down Hager's 50-25-25 rule. Remember, it's not just about submitting bids, it's a strategic game plan for success. So, as you gear up for that next big project, which element will be your secret weapon? Let us know in the comments, and until next time, good luck out there.